We keep hearing women say that they're in a season of becoming more confident, becoming more disciplined, becoming the woman that they were meant to be. And it sounds beautiful, right? But what does becoming actually mean? Because becoming is not always beautiful while you're living through it. Sometimes becoming can feel like confusion, grief, loss. Sometimes it feels like you no longer fit into the life that you've built, but you haven't fully stepped into the life that's waiting for you. And I think that that's the part that we don't talk about enough. Becoming is not just adding new things to your life. Sometimes it's about releasing the things that no longer belong there. If this topic resonates with you, grab a drink, pull up a chair, and let's talk. Today, I want to talk about what becoming really means. Not the social media version, not the perfectly curated version, not the version that looks like buying a new wardrobe, changing your morning routine, or suddenly having your entire life figured out. I want to talk about the internal work of becoming, the honesty, the discomfort, the grief, the courage. Becoming is not pretending to be someone new. It is often giving yourself permission to become who you may have been underneath everyone else's expectations all along. Becoming begins with honesty, being honest with yourself about what's working, what's not working, what you might have outgrown. Honest about where you've been settling, shrinking, performing, or simply going through the motions. Sometimes we know long before we're willing to admit it that something in our lives no longer fits. It could be a relationship, a career, or even a friendship. It can even be a version of ourselves that once helped us survive, but that very same version is now keeping us from growing. And honesty can be uncomfortable because once you admit that you know the truth, it's harder to continue to living as though you don't. You might realize that you have been saying yes when you really wanted to say no. You might realize that you have been maintaining relationships that only work when you stay quiet. You might realize that you have been chasing goals that feel impressive, but they no longer feel meaningful to you. Becoming asks you to stop living on autopilot, and it's asking you to pay attention to what your life is trying to teach you. Becoming often involves loss, and that's the part that people don't always tell you. Becoming can involve grief. You might grieve the woman that you used to be. You might grieve the time that you believe that you've lost. You might grieve relationships that you thought would come with you into the next season. You might grieve the fact that some people only seemed comfortable with you when you were less confident, when you were less visible, when you were less honest. And sometimes the old version of you wasn't bad. She may have been doing the very best that she could. She might have been protecting you. She might have learned how to survive instability, disappointment, rejection, and heartbreak. So becoming does not require you to shame her. You can honor who you were while still acknowledging that she cannot lead you into every future season of your life. And that's important. You do not have to hate your former self in order to grow beyond her. You can thank her, you can understand her, and most importantly, you should have compassion for her. And then you make a different choice. Becoming is not imitation. And I really want women to understand this part. Becoming does not mean copying another woman's life, no matter how good she tries to make it look on social media. Social media can make becoming look like a formula. You wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you buy a matching workout set, you order the same drink that everyone else orders from Starbucks, you start a business, lose weight, you travel, you buy a house, you get married, and you dress a certain way. Because you can only shop at certain stores now. And none of those things, I guess, are wrong. There may be meaningful parts of that, but they are another woman's journey. But her path is not automatically your assignment. You can admire another woman without assuming that you're behind because your life doesn't look like hers. You can be inspired by her discipline, her confidence, her style, or her success without trying to recreate her identity. That's the difference between inspiration and comparison. Inspiration asks, what does this awaken in me? Comparison asks, why am I not doing the same thing she's doing? Becoming is deeply personal. Your becoming might look quieter. It might look like you're finally setting a boundary. You're going back to school. You're leaving a job. You're rebuilding. Or you're simply learning how to rest without feeling guilty. And I know that that's a hard one for us ladies. You might be trying to find your voice after years of suppressing it. You do not become by creating another woman's life. You become by getting honest about the life that's calling you. Becoming is not performance. There is a difference between transformation and performance. Performance is concerned with how the change looks. Transformation is concerned with whether the change is actually real. And you can change your clothes, you can change your hair, your environment, vocabulary, or your social media presence and still remain disconnected from you. You can look confident while still abandoning your own needs. You can look successful while still living in constant anxiety. You can present yourself as healed while still avoiding the truth. Real becoming happens internally before it becomes visibly external. It is the quiet decision to stop betraying yourself. It's learning how to trust your own judgment. It is choosing differently even when no one's applauding or even looking. It is becoming more aligned and not just simply more impressive. And I think that's why becoming can feel slow, because the internal work does not always give you immediate external evidence. You may be changing long before anyone else notices. Becoming means practicing before it feels natural. One of the hardest parts of becoming is that you often have to start behaving like the woman you are becoming before you fully feel like her. You may have to set the boundary while your voice is still shaking. You might have to apply for that opportunity before you feel completely qualified. You might have to walk away before you're completely ready. You might have to speak up while part of you still wants to disappear. Confidence doesn't always come first. Sometimes the decision comes first. And then confidence develops because you have shown yourself that you can be trusted. The woman you are becoming is built through repeated choices. Not one dramatic moment, not one motivational speech, not one perfect morning routine. She is built every time the old version of you would have abandoned yourself, but you chose not to this time. Every time you honor your needs, every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you choose peace over something that's familiar, every time you refuse to shrink just to make other people feel comfortable. That's becoming. Becoming can feel lonely. There may be a season when people around you do not understand what's changing. And you'll hear things like, "You're different." She thinks that she's better than everybody. She's doing too much. They might try to remind you of who you used to be. And sometimes they are not intentionally trying to hold you back. They may simply be accustomed to a version of you that feels comfortable or familiar to them. But familiarity does not always mean alignment. There are moments when becoming requires you to tolerate being misunderstood. Not because you are trying to prove anything, but because you cannot keep trying to explain every decision to people who are committed to relating to an older version of you. You're allowed to evolve. You are allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to want something different. You are allowed to stop participating in patterns that no longer serve you. Becoming is not a destination. And I also think that we need to release the idea that one day we're going to arrive and be completely finished. It doesn't work that way. Because becoming is not a final destination. There will always be another layer of growth, another truth to face, another level of courage, another version of you that life is inviting forward. That does not mean you were never enough. It means you're still alive. It means you're still learning and that you're willing to continue to grow. You can appreciate who you are today without believing that you have to remain exactly the same forever. You can be proud of your progress and still know that there is more within you. So what does becoming actually mean? Let's review. It means becoming honest enough to admit what no longer fits. It means releasing identities and expectations that no longer belong to you. They're someone else's. It means grieving what you have lost without returning to what you have outgrown. It means refusing to copy someone else's path. It means practicing new choices before they actually feel natural. It means choosing the woman you are growing into, even when the life around you still reflects who you used to be. It will catch up. Becoming is not pretending to be someone new. It is returning to yourself with more truth, more courage, and more intention. And you do not wake up one morning fully transformed, no matter what you see on social media. You become through the choices you keep making when the old version of you would have chosen differently. So I want to leave you with this question. What is your life asking you to release so that you can become who you were meant to be? Tell me in the comments. If this conversation helped you realize that you're in the season of becoming, I created a free becoming guide to help you identify what you are outgrowing, what you want to carry forward, and the next step that you're ready to take. You can download it through the link in the description. And if you would like deeper support as you move through this season, you can also explore Luxe Women through the link below. Thank you for spending this time with me, and remember, you are not behind, you are becoming. Until next time, ladies, I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.